It's actually pretty easy to spot someone who tends to overthink or get caught up in mental self-conflict. They usually send a lot of messages when chatting. They explain themselves a lot. They'll always add an emoji to their messages, because if they don't, it feels way too cold. They're constantly trying to read the tone behind someone's text, and the second a message feels off, their mind goes into overdrive. They start playing out 100 different scenarios in their head, even replaying past conversations, trying to figure out if they said or did something wrong. People who overthink like this tend to be really self-reflective, sometimes to the point of being overly critical of themselves. They set high standards for themselves. They're scared of disappointing others or being misunderstood. For example, in a totally normal conversation, if the other person replies a little slower than usual, they start worrying, did I say something wrong? Should I explain myself better? Even a simple "oh" or from the other person can send them into a spiral of self-doubt, wondering, are they annoyed? Did I do something to upset them? They just really want to be liked and accepted, so in social situations, they tend to walk on eggshells. Sometimes they even fall into people-pleasing behavior, not expressing their own needs or emotions directly, but instead just going along with others, even making excuses in their head for why someone's being cold or distant. Like they could be feeling super down, but still tell themselves, he's probably just really busy, or he's in a bad mood today. It's not about me. One big thing about people who mentally exhaust themselves like this, they have a really hard time saying no. They're afraid that saying no might ruin the relationship, so they end up sacrificing their own time and energy just to avoid the chance of not being liked. At the root of this people-pleasing is often a shaky sense of self-worth. Deep down, they feel like they have to please others in order to prove they matter. At work, they're often perfectionists. They expect a lot from themselves. They can't stand making mistakes. Even simple tasks might get checked over and over again. One tiny piece of criticism can keep them up all night. They constantly seek external validation, but even when they get praise, they struggle to truly accept it. The root of this kind of mental burnout often comes from feeling insecure as a kid. Maybe they were criticized a lot or made to feel like they were never good enough. They were scared to make mistakes, scared of being blamed, scared their emotions weren't allowed, and that pattern follows them into adulthood, where they keep second-guessing and criticizing themselves. As kids, they might have thought, if I just try harder, mom and dad won't be mad anymore. And as adults, it turns into, if I can just be a little better, people will like me more. So how do you reduce this kind of mental overthinking? First, stop expecting so much from yourself. Allow yourself to make mistakes. Allow yourself to be imperfect. Nobody on this planet is liked by everyone. Ask yourself, is this really such a big deal? If someone else did this, would I be as harsh on them as I am on myself? Second, learn to separate facts from what your brain's imagining. A lot of our mental stress comes from assuming the worst, when the reality is probably way more chill. Like if a friend doesn't text back right away, you might think, they're ignoring me. But in reality, maybe they're just busy, or they saw the message and forgot to reply. So next time your thoughts start spiraling, try to look for actual evidence instead of getting lost in your feelings. Third, work on letting go of people-pleasing. Learn to say what you need. Not every relationship is worth holding on to, and not every relationship needs you to bend over backwards. The ones that matter, the healthy ones, let you be yourself, without you constantly guessing what the other person is thinking. People who struggle with this kind of mental burnout are usually super sensitive and kind. But don't let your kindness turn into a burden that drains you. You deserve love, and you deserve a life that feels light and peaceful.